Welcome to, or welcome back to, the Agatha May Detective Agency. I'm Agatha May, and we are finally on our third and last installment of The Great Evangelist That Never Was. And I am absolutely ecstatic that we're almost finished with Reginald Wayne Miller, because I'm tired of this man and his nonsense, and if I saw him face to face, I'd probably poke him right in the eye. So in our last video about Reggie, the year was 2015, and he had recently returned from his incarceration, which is like a staycation, only you're in prison. Reggie was on house arrest for a year and was accessorizing his outfits with the season's latest ankle monitor. He was then on supervision for 3 years. Now, for a while after Reggie's release, he was rather quiet. Unfortunately, that did not last. By January of 2016, he was promoting his newly named All Nations Bible College and Seminary and All Nations Cathedral Church, aka Cathedral Baptist Church of the Grand Strand Incorporated. And just to make it more confusing, the website for his church was allnationschristianchurch.com. I am flabbergasted at the fact that Reggie can't seem to grasp the simple idea that if he would quit damaging the reputation of his colleges and churches, he wouldn't have to keep changing the names. By February of 2016, Reggie was back in Myrtle Beach having services in what he called the college building that was near Solid Rock Church. I looked on a map and I have no idea what building he's talking about. The address sets you down in a parking lot of some apartments. Maybe there was a building there and it's since been torn down. Or maybe the building only existed in Reggie's head. Reggie was also asking for donations to help move the college and church into a new location. He complained that he wasn't taking a salary and was having to live off his Social Security benefits. Now everyone feels sorry for Reggie having to live like millions of other Americans struggling to make ends meet. Reg wasn't bringing in paying audience members, or as he calls them, congregants, fast enough, so he decided to try luring them in by offering free hot dog dinners on Wednesday nights. Oh, Reg, you marketing genius, you. And I'll bet those hot dogs probably sat in a crock pot full of tepid, pinkish gray, sad hot dog water. But by golly, I think the hot dogs did the trick, because Reggie ended up with enough students enrolled in the college that they had a graduation ceremony that May. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Maybe it wasn't the hot dogs, but rather the fact that Reg tosses out degrees like beads at a Mardi Gras parade. By September of that year, Reggie was able to move the college and church to a new location at a strip mall storefront in Myrtle Beach. In January of 2017, Reggie announced that the college tuition, which used to be as high as $3,000 a year, was going to be free for the students who were going to take classes at the main headquarters in Myrtle Beach. Main headquarters. Is Reg trying to convince people that his strip mall storefront college had a second headquarters? Was it in a storage unit or someone's garage? There was a $50 registration fee, and you had to buy books. However, if you were going to take correspondence classes, you still had to pay tuition because of the cost of mailing. Now, what the heck are you mailing that cost that much, you shyster? You know what books Reggie used for the college courses? His own. That's right. His college curriculum was books that he wrote and self-published. So you could get a worthless degree based on books that were written and published by the guy who owned the college. Well, that does not sound cultish at all. In February of 2017, Reginald's mother died at the age of 88, and the probate representatives for her estate were not her firstborn son and his firstborn son, but were rather Reggie's younger sister, Regina, aka Ginger, and John Paul's younger brother, Patrick. I can't imagine why she didn't want Reggie and John Paul to have anything to do with it. I really question why Reg and Inez Miller felt like the name Reginald was so magnificent that they named their son Reginald and their daughter Regina, especially since they're not twins. I think the name Reginald should only be used if the name is something like Reginald Indubitably Westminster Yorkshire Pudding Smythe the Fifth. For the next couple of years, Reg continued to grow the college and managed to not get arrested. In 2019, he started making trips to Lahore, Pakistan. And that is Lahore, not Lahore. That same year, Reg filmed all of his lectures for the college. I guess that way he was free to roam the world but still have a college. I've listened to some of his lectures and have discovered that they put me to sleep, so at least they're good for something. He also just makes up information while he's teaching. In one video, he claimed that John Paul is one of the best ministers in the entire world. In another video, he claimed that ministers have the most stressful job of anyone ever and that they never have time off and can never take vacation, and it's so bad they are 4 times as likely to have heart attacks. Well, I can make up statistics too. I think people named Reginald have a 100% greater chance of being a half-witted buffoon. Reg also often mentions men in the Bible and how deviant they were. Quote, "On this side of the cross, the adulterer and murderer David was a man after God's own heart. The prostitute lover Samson was a hero of the faith. The liar Abraham, who put his wife in a harem of Pharaoh, was a friend of God, and Lot the incest, who slept with his daughters, was called righteous Lot. Aren't you glad you're on this side of the cross?" End quote. Is there anything else you want to confess to, Reggie? Also, the word incest isn't used as a person's title, you doink. By 2020, Reggie had decided that he needed to travel the world and set up colleges in other countries. And by travel the world, he meant Pakistan. Also, I'm pretty sure that the reason that Reggie had to go to students out of the country instead of bringing them here like he used to was because the federal government wouldn't let him bring students back to the country anymore. Now, Reginald spent most of his time between 2020 and 23 in Lahore. At the end of 2021, Reggie posted on Facebook that he was returning to the United States after being in Pakistan, and he needed $20,000 in a few weeks so he could return to Pakistan and live there for 6 months. Somehow, Reggie managed to be back in Lahore by February. Are there really people with deep pockets that are forking up that kind of money in a few weeks' time? Or is the money coming from somewhere else? Tell us how you do it, Reggie. I know that things with Reggie have been a little crazy here and there, but this next part of the story is like the weirdest soap opera you've never, ever wanted to watch. It's weird. Also, I might jump around the timeline a bit. So while Wayne was in Pakistan, he met siblings, Suleiman, Suleman, or as he calls him, Solomon, Salaman, and Sadoff Yusas, although their last name might actually be Yusuf. Of course, people associated with Wayne have multiple names. I think it's a stipulation of being his friend. Now, the Yusas siblings are the ones we discussed on the first video about Troy Taylor. Sadoff is the woman who supposedly was going to marry Troy so she and Solomon could move to the U.S. Solomon is allegedly Reggie's boyfriend. So there is a man named Pervez Roshan, and he is a Christian Pakistani journalist who lives in Bangkok. He has a YouTube channel that I will link in the description below. His videos are in Hindi, but he has wonderful descriptions for each in English. The following saga has been taken from the descriptions of 3 of his videos. From now on, until I tell you differently, everything I'm saying is alleged by Pervez Roshan. I'm not accusing Reggie of these things, and I'm not stating them as a fact. I have no proof that the allegations are true. But if you hypothetically asked me if I believed Pervez, I would hypothetically say yes. In the first video, Pervez tells that on September of 2022, the host pastor that Reggie was staying with in Lahore, Pakistan, Zaryab Arshad, kicked Reg to the curb because he found out Reg and Solomon were sleeping together. After being kicked out of the pastor's house, Reg started living with Solomon in an area called Eden Garden. Well, that sounds provocative. Reggie spent money on Solomon and bought him a car, expensive musical instruments, and clothing. Reggie supposedly was also sleeping with a whole passel of men in Pakistan, and Pervez even gave a list of names. Pervez also throws in that Reggie's children hate him and that his daughter didn't even let Reggie go to her wedding, and that all of his children know he prefers men, boys, and children. So, Reggie was not happy about the pastor kicking him out, and he knew that if word got around he was having an affair with Solomon, he would lose his sweet Pakistani gig. So Reggie made up some fake story and accused his former pastor, Zaryab, of something that ruined the pastor's life. And Reggie did it to save Solomon because Solomon was having an affair with one of his aunts. I told you this was weird. Reggie also was said to have paid a barber in Pakistan to have sex with him, and Solomon found out and was angry. Now, Reg told Solomon that it was only because he was so stressed and he didn't know what happened to him. Now, if I wasn't believing this story up to this point, the fact that Reggie tried to make an excuse for his actions sounds exactly like something Reggie would do. Pervez ends this video with saying that Reg only has a few people on his side in Pakistan, and it's only because he gives them fake doctorate degrees and praises them to get money for his evil purposes. And this video was posted on August 5th of 2023, so it was all coming out before Mica's death. But wait, there's more, because there's always more with Reggie. In a video that was posted on December 6th, 2023, by Pervez Roshan, he explains the awful thing that Reggie allegedly did to Zaryab Ashad, his former host pastor. When Zaryab found out that Reg was sleeping with half the men in the town and subsequently kicked him out of his house, Reg was determined to turn things around. Now, I don't mean turn things around like stop sleeping with half the men in town, but turn the story around to where everyone is against Zaryab and Reg is just a poor innocent martyr. So Reggie had Sadoff, Solomon's sister, claim that Zaryab had raped her. He and his cohorts executed their plan while the pastor was visiting family in the UK. Reggie then skedaddled out of Pakistan in April of 2023. Now, the accusation against Zaryab was dismissed in court in June of 2023. So Wayne sent money to Sadoff to file an appeal, which was also dismissed. Wayne then persuaded her to file as a private complainant, which I'm guessing is the equivalent to our civil cases, and that case was also dismissed. Now, this is the end of Pervez's allegations, for a minute anyway. Zaryab Arshad is the pastor of Abundant Life Church in Lahore, Pakistan, which is the church that made the video saying that they never wanted Reggie to come back to Pakistan. So I think that adds some credence to Pervez's story. Now, there is further rumor that in Pakistan, Reggie was known as the Great Gay White American Preacher. While that title certainly isn't on his missions website, it does sound like a fun title for a musical. From what I've gathered, Reggie has not been back to Pakistan after coming home in April of last year. In December of 2023, Solomon and Sadoff came to the United States. And as of this video, they are still here. Reggie has them touring the country, singing at churches, and getting some pretty groovy gifts. Reggie wrote about the dynamic duo in a Facebook post. Quote, Sadoff and Solomon beginning their USA tour at Solid Rock in Myrtle Beach to the applause of hundreds. 31 more performances in 3 states and 11 cities. Their reception has been unbelievable, from being given iPhones to Nike shoes to a music producer offer. These two will take America by storm. From unbelievable persecution to heroes of the faith, God is giving them honor beyond words. End quote. I wonder if Reggie is having quote-unquote love offerings taken for the siblings and then keeping a percentage for an agent's fee. So this particular promotional flyer for the siblings looks like it's more for WWE SmackDown. Well, there is a money-making idea for you, Reggie. Start a wrestling event. You could call it Wrestling with Satan. These days, Reggie also seems to work closely with a Nadeem Danish and Enoch Fiaz in Pakistan, and according to Bervais the journalist, they are just as upstanding as Reg is. Bervais posted a video on June 1st of this year about Troy Taylor and how Enoch Fiaz was Troy's host when he visited Pakistan. Bervais also claimed that Enoch is greedy and gets paid to allow ex-offenders to visit Pakistan and be around children. Now, Enoch also goes by Enoch Fiaz Sahatra as well as Enoch Fiaz. Of course he does. Nadeem and Enoch post regularly on Reggie's Wayne Miller and Friends Facebook page, praising Reggie for being so absolutely wonderful. Are they being paid for their services, or are they merely delusional and think Reggie is really the bee's knees? Nadeem did get one of those fake doctorate degrees from Wayne, so maybe that's why he adores him. On June 12th, the group Christian Lawyers Association Pakistan wrote a Facebook post, and I'm not really sure what they're talking about, but it wasn't about Reginald. But old Reg didn't care. He used it as a way to try and defend himself against the allegations made about his time in Pakistan. Quote, "Go after these snakes. No American will want to serve the body of Christ in Pakistan with snakes representing the Christian community. Many have been afflicted with fake videos with false and gross accusations. Clean up the Christian lawyers of Pakistan by going after them and their master in the UK, and also his other fake ministers in Pakistan, like Zaryab Arshad, who made a false video of false accusations. The Christians of Pakistan must clean their house." Well, I'm pretty sure that they did clean their house, Reg, and that's why you've been back in the U.S. for over a year. Now, it'll be interesting to see how often, or even if, Reggie goes to Pakistan now that he's not longer wanted there and now that Solomon is in the U.S. Speaking of Solomon, the verse that Reggie uses as his tagline of sorts is, "My beloved is mine and I am his." Out of all the hundreds of verses, he chooses one from the romance novel of the Bible. Is this some kind of not-so-subtle code? Reggie currently has an all-nations Bible college in Lahore, Pakistan. I've tried to get information to see if he still has a college here in the U.S., but neither email address for the college is working, and I haven't received a reply from their contact form. Write me back, Reg. Reggie has also formed a fellowship, but I don't think they have anything to do with rings. The name is the Restoration Fellowship of Christian Churches and Ministers International. Well, at least he used a short name. Now, this is a fellowship that anyone can join, and if you aren't ordained, Reg can get you ordained and licensed to be a minister. What are the benefits of joining Reg's non-ring having fellowship? According to Reg, quote, "It will give people greater respect and trust for your ministry, especially since there are so many charlatans out and around taking advantage of people," end quote. Oh, Reginald, you're funny. Why would anyone with the slightest modicum of sense want Reggie's stamp of approval on their ministry? Now, Reg also likes posting this flyer for himself online. And if you look at the bottom of the flyer, you'll see that Reginald offers secret music couching. Get a proofreader, Reg. After Mica's death and allegations about John Paul started swirling, Reggie attempted to kind of defend John Paul and sent an email to the Daily Mail that was published on May 16th. But Reggie seems to be defending himself more than anyone else, which is not even slightly surprising. There was a screen cap of the email Reggie sent on the news story, but it was very small, so I typed it out. Misspellings, poor grammar, and all. It was a painful task. And here's what Reggie had to say. Number 1, allegations are allegations. Well, he's not wrong. Number 2, never been on a solid rock mission trip, but have a video of Mica Miller on one where she tells last year on one how she took GUNS to KILLER herself and pulled the trigger and the bullet locked in the GUN. I think it's interesting that Reggie has never been on a mission trip with his son's church. And I would like to see the full video of the clip of Mica to know if she was actually talking about herself or not. It seems pretty convenient that the video was suddenly out for everyone to see. Number 3. Never been involved as a teacher at Solid Rock. Was asked a few weeks ago to fill in for a teacher who was out of town and taught 3 classes, the only time ever taught there. Can someone break it to Reggie that if you teach at a school even as a substitute, you have still been involved as a teacher there? You're just a substitute, not full-time. Number 4. In 2014, I had signed 2 student visas that they knew English because I had been led to believe they did. When they got here, they did not know English. I was supposed to have reported them but did not, giving them English lessons instead. I therefore committed visa fraud by not reporting them and pled guilty to that. The only reason I was in prison leading up to the pleading is that I had no money for bail because I have never maintained a balance greater than a couple of thousand since all my life has been given to helping others. The other 2 charges was students who had worked over the 20-hour requirement of how much they could work. I had considered some of their work to be training. All other charges were dropped. All the rest were allegations which the media, once reports, becomes facts to most of the public. After reading what Reggie wrote here, he is the last person who should be teaching anyone English. Number 5. Any other legal matter was dismissed, and the above is all on my record there is for my lifetime. Please, no one let Reggie try to teach anyone English. Number 6. The problem with press reports is that only the rich can do anything about what is said in the media. The poor cannot afford a lawyer and just have to bear the fake allegations. Except you are literally answering what was said in the media to a media outlet, you walnut. Number 7. Isn't it time you concentrated on, redacted name, of the Justice for Mica and see him in his orange jumper suit in jail for beating up his wife or a host of other things you could look at? I have no idea who he's talking about, and it's a jumpsuit, Reggie. Number 8. When the media ceases its rage against people who have nothing to do with Mica's dearth, you are going to leave a lot of broken lives. I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer last year. Now, I haven't really seen any rage in the media, social media maybe, but I haven't seen any newspaper or news site rage against anyone. And you were diagnosed, or you are diagnosed. Have you been, or you did? Can you should, might can could. When Reggie was on post-prison supervision, he tried to get his travel visa reinstated and told the court he had heart troubles. Now, I'm not sure why that had anything to do with traveling, but it seems possible that Reggie uses sickness when he's trying to evade or avoid things or to get people to feel sorry for him. Elsewhere in the email, Reggie did state that my son is not a monster and that he loved her with all his heart. He also said my son did everything he could to keep her on her drugs, help her through her psychotic states. Did Reggie really mean to use the word drugs there? Now, I'd say it was a slip of the tongue, but this was all in writing. Also, I'm sorry I made you think about Reggie's tongue. Reg also went on to parrot what John Paul has been saying about Mica's mental health. This is the same man who left the following note on April 29th on her obituary. Quote, "My fondest memory of Mica is the summer of 2017. My mother had died, and I had published a cookbook with her famous recipes. Mica wanted to learn to cook Southern food for John Paul, so we made an agreement that each Wednesday afternoon I would come over and we would cook from the cookbook some of my mom's recipes. We had a great time doing this, and it was the season that I was closest to Mica before leaving the USA in 2019 for the mission field. She was also so loving and kind and always afforded me the greatest respect. I was proud to be her father-in-law. I was proud of the way she poured herself into the Solid Rock Church. She was an incredible worship leader, and I know she is now singing in the heavenly choir." End quote. So Reggie has nothing but good things to say about Mica, until the situation takes a turn against him and his mini-me son. Then he's telling the entire world that she's psychotic. This dude really taxes my patience. Reggie is once again preaching in a strip mall storefront in Myrtle Beach. As a side note, I hope whoever owns the strip mall has really good fire insurance, just in case. I'm not sure what the name of his church is currently, but I am sure that I don't even care. It'll probably be changed soon anyway. Reggie recently allowed a reporter with the Post and Courier to attend one of his church services. Here is an excerpt from the reporter's article. Quote, "During the church service, Wayne Miller delivered a sermon about love. It rejoices in the truth," he said. After playing the piano while two people he described as volunteer staff sang hymns. No one else showed up. End quote. As far as I'm aware, Reginald Wayne Miller has not been charged with any crimes concerning Mica's death and is not under investigation. He is innocent until proven guilty. Thank you so much for watching. I will have the video of Susie Skinner and Trisha Ross up soon. Please like, comment, and subscribe as that helps my channel grow. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.